Welcome to today's session where we'll be discussing navigation when using the Klevr Contracts application. As you can see on the screen here, we have what is known as the app selector, and here users can log into their customer engagement environment and they can select which application they would like to utilize to carry out their daily tasks. For today's session, we're going to be taking a look at the Klevr Contracts application. So by selecting the Klevr Contracts app from the app selector, I'll be taken inside the Klevr Contracts application. On the left here, we can see that we have the sitemap, and within the sitemap at the bottom, we have areas, then we have groups, and then we have sub areas. Within the Klevr Contracts area, we have our My Work group, where we can see dashboards to easily get a lot of information. These dashboards are customizable. You can have user-created dashboards, or you can have dashboards that are entered into the system and made accessible by all users. We then have our activities dashboard, which will show me all of the activities that I need to carry out as a user in the system. And then we have approvals, which will populate based off of approvals that are set up on your system. We then have our relationship management area, where we have our accounts for all of the organizations that have been entered within our CRM, and then we have our contact records as well. Importantly for Klevr Contracts, we have our contracts area, and within the contracts area, we have our contract groups, our contracts, our milestones associated with those contracts, and then any transaction records. By selecting any of these options, I'll be taken to a list or a view, as they're known within D365 customer engagement, where I can see all of the records based off of the filters that are set up for these lists. As a user, if I want to edit the columns that I see on this list, I can select the Edit Columns button, and then I can add or remove columns that display on the list so that I can see additional information by opening a list. I can also edit the filters, and this will edit the query that runs against the database that populates the list that appears on the screen. Once I've made my changes to the list, I can then save those changes if I like, and I can save that view as a user view, which I can then use myself, or I can share with other team members or potentially entire teams. And if that view is deemed worthy, that it's going to be very beneficial for everyone, that can be saved as a system view, very similar to our system dashboards. If I wanted to navigate to a different area within the application, then I can go to the area selector and I can select the settings. Within the settings option, once again, we have all of a group that will control all of our contracts related metadata. So here I can set up things like the different contract budget types that I want to have in the system. I can add in all of my contract terms that can get applied to different contracts when I'm setting them up. I can have my milestone types, and then I could also have my terms and conditions that might get applied to different contracts throughout the system. Also heavily used within Klevr Contracts is our approvals area. So here I can set up the different approvals that will be applied throughout the Klevr Contracts application. And these things might be adding approvals to contracts based off of the valuation for that contract. It might be adding approval to a milestone when it is submitted to say that, yes, this milestone's objectives have been completed, or it might even be applied to transactions to say that transactions over a certain amount need to be approved before any funds can be released as per that transaction record. Another important area is the notifications area. And within the notifications area, this actually allows users to set up notifications. So notifications are typically handled within customer engagement applications using Power Automate. However, that can require some D365 CE functional or technical capabilities to configure. At Walker Scott, we have a lot of Klevr utilities that will be installed with the Klevr Contracts application. And one of those Klevr utilities is the notifications tab, where users can actually go in and they can set up criteria. And if any records match that criteria, then a notification such as an email can be sent to a particular user or group of users based on a record matching that notification. And so this is the way that users can navigate around the Klevr Contracts application. It's very intuitive. It doesn't take much training for users to get used to, and then it allows them to unlock all of the capabilities within the Klevr Contracts application. Thank you very much.